Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to TT Masters League Division 1 round number 8, which takes us to Monza, the Temple of Speed for the Italian Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box as always is the lovely, the fantastic, the amazing Mr. James Head. James, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well, Kieran. How's yourself?
I'm very well. Unfortunately, no Tom tonight, but do give him some birthday wishes in the chat. That's the reason he's not here. So a very happy birthday. Well-deserved day off, I think, for Tom, but I'm sure he'll be back before you know it for the upcoming streams. For now, though, James, we've got to fend for ourselves. We haven't had to do this for a long, long while. So, so I'm nervous, of course, but I know we're going to smash it. I know we are.
No, I think it's going to be quite good tonight. Obviously, we're at the Temple of Speed, 75% of the track of which can be taken at full speed. So you're going to be seeing these drivers go with their throttle in, but pretty much for about 75% of the track out on the calendar tonight. And it should be really interesting because we also got a new driver in XL Neo. I commentate on him in Division 1 for League of Europe. I can definitely say he's got an outside chance of a possible top 5.
Well, we'll hold you to that, James, because obviously we love a little bit of a James Head prediction, and we love to see if it actually turns out to be true. Who knows, though, as we head our way through. But we should take you through the championship standings as of before this race. So Medium Pilot currently leads the championship on 148 points. Perpetuum is in second on 127. Calsper in third on 118. Josh in fourth on 115. Recon is in fifth place with 95 points. Dobby in sixth on 61. Killer Blue in 7th on 57, with Legend in 8th on 52, Bianchi in 9th on 45, and Nathan in 10th place, joint with Carlsbury on 41 points. That's the top 10, but we now get you to your Constructors' Championship, which of course has Mercedes at the top of the table, having a very good season on 242, Ferrari in second on 215, Williams in third on 175, Haas in fourth on 93, Alpha Tauri are fifth, or 85 points. Renault in sixth on 64. Alfa Romeo in seventh on 63. McLaren in eighth on 60. Red Bull in ninth on 48. And Racing Point round out the top 10 teams on 37 points. If you missed the action last time out at Hungary, well, you missed a heck of a race. Medium Pilot took another win in the season, with Recon getting his second podium of the season. Perpetuum rounded out the top 3. And to be honest with you, James, Hungary delivered an interesting result, but it also delivered us a Medium Pilot masterclass.
Yeah, Medium Pilot really drove the socks off of that Williams, quite literally, out on track in Hungary last week. It was a fantastic performance. Obviously, if you missed the race, you can go and watch it back later. But all I can say, it was a strategical masterclass with around 10 or 11 laps to go, which got him the win. Recon was quite unlucky as well. He managed to get those tyres, I think 26, 27 laps in the end, on a set of hard compounded tyres. He was quite unlucky. He finished quite a way off Medium Pilot in the end by, I think, nearly 10 seconds. And Perpetuum finished third. Perpetuum really best of the rest last week in Hungary. Is the top 3 going to remain the same? We'll have to find out in a couple of minutes' time.
We will indeed, but until then, we've got a Temple of Speed to really sink our teeth into. And that was a phrase I was looking for multiple times in the last race, and I just couldn't quite find it. I couldn't quite find that phrase. I found out what it was: sink your teeth into it. Which actually sounds a bit terrifying when you say it like that. However, we do like an idiom that doesn't make sense, eh, James?
We do. I've plenty of them, don't worry.
And I know you do, because I've watched you over these past few seasons for sure. But yeah, why don't you talk us through the latest signing at the Haas team then? Neo, is it Neo? From the
Neo.
Yes, Neo the German. What do you expect from him tonight?
I honestly think he's got a good chance of possibly getting the top 5, as I already said at the top of the stream. Neo has been quite inconsistent, if I've got to be honest, within League of Europe Division 1. But on his day, he has got the pace. And he comes up against the likes of Killer Blue as well within League of Europe Division 1. So in respect to him, they're both around the same pace. It's going to be really intriguing to see how Neo gets on. Killer Blue, obviously, I think finished 6th last week in Hungary off the top of my head. He drove a great race. Neo is going to be in and around that sort of area. But don't be surprised if he can put it up with the best tonight.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. We've also got, of course, the Williams cars of Medium Pilot and Dartbolt. They're currently third place in the constructors' standings as it stands before this race. They've had a decent season, but it seems to be a bit one-sided from one half of the garage. What does Dartbolt need to do to get themselves back into this?
Well, first of all, he needs to show up within the lobby, because I can see he's not here at the minute. But if Darkbot obviously was to attend, I think obviously with the Navy hosting it might be different, but if Darkbot was to attend, then he would have to try and eke out that bit more consistency, I think. Him and Medium Pilot have got to try and work together in a party. They're third in the constructors' standings. They're not too far off the top two constructors, to be honest. It's only about 70 points. 70 points might not seem like much, but if you get a 1-2 finish, there's 43 points, fastest lap and pole position, there's 46 points right off the bat. So you really try and eke into that advantage of Mercedes and Ferrari. It's going to be really intriguing to see. Obviously, it's been a bit of a one-man show, I think, at Williams, with Medium Pilot obviously dominating the championship so far. But Darkbolt, if he attends, he could have a good chance. He had, I think, his overall best race last week in Hungary, if I'm not mistaken. He finished top 10, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that.
Well, he did. I do remember that one. One team we should be talking about, which end up talking about in every single stream, in every single season in real Formula 1, it is, of course, Mercedes in the hands of, well, Josh right now in those standings, but 242 points leading the way, Perpetum and Josh. They're a great pairing so far, aren't they, James?
Really good pairing, and to be honest, they roll off the tongue quite literally to each other. They roll off each other very nicely indeed. Josh has got a lot of pace. Perpetum also has got a lot of pace as well. So the Mercedes team have been doing that well. And to be honest, I think I said at the start of the season that Calsper and Recon were the strongest pairing. Well, the Mercedes pairing are just outdoing them by a handful of points. 27 points, I think it is. So Ferrari need to up their game in that respect.
Yeah, and speaking of Ferrari, with that pairing of Calsper and Recon, it is a good pairing for them, but they're currently second in those constructors' standings. So what's not quite clicking for them this season?
To be honest, it's a bit of... I'm not being harsh to these guys, but a tiny bit of inconsistency, I think. They've had really good results over the course of the season in general, but one or two results not going their way. Recon obviously misjudging his strategy last time out in Hungary. Could have easily got the win that day. So Ferrari, I think, with Recon and Calsper, obviously they're the strongest pairing, I think, on the grid, but honestly, I'm quite surprised that they're second in the championship and not first, and not running away with it by an absolute mile. So it's going to be really intriguing to find out. Hopefully, as we say, we have had a recent patch update as well, so there's only 11 drivers currently within the lobby. Hopefully we get a bit more, because Italy's one of those tracks where if you have a 20 driver grid, it really does get quite intense in terms of qualifying, and we saw that in real life just a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely. We'll talk about one of the full teams at the moment, because we've got McLaren here, currently 8th place, 60 points in the hands of Coutinho and Carlsbury. Now with these two drivers, I would have expected them higher up the table than that.
Yeah, I would. They're in around the mid-pack sort of area with the likes of Renault, and Venom and Navy are also doubly represented here tonight for the Renault team. So they're in behind Alfa Romeo by 3 points, in behind Renault by 4 points. I think they should have been top 4, top 5 quite easily, I think. Their results, as I say, just haven't gone their way. They have a lot of pace. Whether they show that tonight will remain to be seen. Just to speak about Renault as well, with Venom returning and Navy back as well, could be quite interesting to see how they go on tonight as well.
Well, we now count down in towards the Italian Grand Prix here tonight. Ignore the fact that there are only 11 people here, because I can tell you something, it's not the quantity of the drivers we're looking for, it's the quality of the racing. And I can tell you right now, Monza does exactly that. You're going to have a hard time going in towards that part there, the Rettifilo chicane, in towards the first lap. It is going to be a very, very tight scenario. Imagine coming from one of the fastest parts of the racetrack and then braking all the way down to second gear, possibly shifting down into first gear for coming through that corner with a maximum speed of around 70 kilometers per hour, when you've just descended from your fastest speed, nearing 330, 340 kilometers per hour. So I mean, it's a tricky corner in itself, but I think these drivers are more than capable of handling that one.
Even with 11 drivers, I think, you normally see it coming through the Rettifilo chicane, where in a full grid, you would see a lot of Constantino effect. I think we're still going to get that case here tonight as we go into the race. Obviously qualifying to come first, but the Constantino effect down in towards turns 1 and 2 could make or break really anybody's race. And even so, because it's wet out on track, but I think it is intermediate conditions, it is.
Yeah, it does look like intermediate conditions for sure, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And of course, unfortunately, we don't have any weather updates. It's a real shame to have a commentary box that has no weather updates, but what can you do? We have to just keep our eyes on the weather and just see how it all develops. Unfortunately, with no Tom here tonight, we don't have an intro. We don't have the proper sort of intro graphics or anything like that, so we're just going to have to make do with a pretty dull, miserable Monza, which kind of sums up the time without Tom. I gotta be honest, but I know he's having a good day. Having a good day off, I think that's what's important for him, and just a very happy birthday to him from all of us here.
Yeah, very happy birthday, Tom. I'm sure he'll be back on Thursday, rightfully so, in Division 2, where hopefully I'm going to have a better connection.
Well, I mean, you did say you're now wired in, so wired in is absolutely the way to go. Josh here, who's making his way around the circuit, tiptoeing their way through. Now, of course, qualifying here, you said, James, is always going to be tricky because you don't want to be the first person across the line, but you don't want to be last across the line and miss the actual lap to set your fastest time on, especially towards the end of the counter. Slipstream is going to be important here, but when the rain starts to fall, especially if it's a dry race, you could be seeing drivers here on a dry setup on a wet track, and that always does really shake up the grid.
It does, and I think even more so, the rain looks like it's actually getting a bit heavier out on track since the qualifying session actually begun. So we look like we're going to be in this for the long haul, I think, throughout the session. So these drivers have got to be careful. What do they decide to do? Do they decide to do wet setup? Do they decide to do dry setup? If it's going to be dry, go with a dry setup. If it's going to be wet, I would say if it dries up within later on in the race, go for a dry setup as well. First lap's about to begin. Looks like Josh coming through Parabolica.
Yeah, here we go then, riding on board with Josh then as he makes his way around the final corner here and onwards towards that start-finish line. And you're on the throttle here, as James said, for 75% of the lap, a little bit less than that, of course, in these treacherous conditions. Making our way now down towards the Retifidio chicane, looking to that left-hand tyre, braking 120 metres before the corner, and still locking up a little bit is Josh there. Really tight steering angle there to try and get yourself around the corner, and then on the throttle out of the Retifidio chicane, now going in towards Curva Grande, slight banking towards the apex there, which means you can carry a little bit more speed through there. Full throttle all the way through. Now coming towards the Roger chicane. Brake nice and early for this one in the wet and really get your apexes through that quick left-right sequence there. Now on towards the first of the Lesmos here, chucking it in towards that long right-hander again. A little bit of a rise out of the exit of the first Lesmo and then a huge camber in towards the second Lesmo to try and help you carry off the speed. Watch on the exit though, that you do go over a little bit of a dip and a little bit of a crest on the exit, which can promote the tyres, rear tyres, to spin up in through the Curva del Seraglio as we head now down towards that famous Ascari chicane, that left, right, left, chucking the car in these dry conditions. You're really trying to push everything here as Josh gets slightly onto the curbs there. Lap is still valid as he now makes his way down the back straight and towards that legendary right-hander of Parabolica. Normally you'd take this in 5th gear in the drive, but today we're going to probably see it in 4th, maybe even 3rd here. No, Josh elects to stay it in 4th, up to 5th to try and reduce the wheel spin on the exit of Parabolica. And here comes Josh then towards the line to set himself a 1:27.7 on a set of the intermediate tyres. Quickly beaten there by Neo with a 1:27.4, but those lap times are coming in thick and fast.
Yeah, Neo, I think, actually gained time on Josh coming out the final corner. He took a 5th gear coming through the final corner compared to Josh, who I think he said was in 4th. So Neo really going 3/10 ahead of Josh, and already we can see that pace coming about. Venom has just fallen into 3rd with a 27.9. Legend 4th. Medium Pilot is coming through the end of into Ascari now. 57.6 through the middle sector. It's purple so far. Let's see how he's going to get on though. If we run down in towards the final couple of corners. Calsper's just gone 2nd as well, 27.5. Medium Pilot though down in towards the final corner through Parabolica. It's about 10 seconds from that DRS detection zone down towards the line, and I think Medium Pilot is going to go well quicker here than Neo. Cross the line. Job done. 26.6, 8 tenths ahead. That might be the lap to beat.
Well, it's interesting in these sessions, of course, if it's a wet qualifying, it normally means that you get to produce 1, 2, maybe even 3 laps consecutively on these tyres, because of course the intermediates are very durable, the wet tyres are very durable in the right conditions, so you're going to be looking to try and set a couple of laps on these before you really head into the pit lane, mainly because you've only really got about 4 intermediate tyres and 3 wet tyres to lard yourself through qualifying and the race, so you have to use them sparingly, especially if there's more rain predicted in the race.
Yeah, just looking through most of the guys, actually, they've either invalidated or they're just making 1 lap. It looks like Carlsbury, I think, has spun out the final corner. He ran wide coming through Ascari as well, and that, I mean, is one way how to take the pit lane.
Well, it's definitely one way. Is it the right way? I don't know.
Definitely not.
Someone might want to tell him that one. Anyway, Coutinho now making his way through the final corner. Big, lots of understeer as he makes his way through Parabolica. Now trying to gently apply that power. You don't want to apply it too early as Coutinho now makes his way towards the line. 28-0 from the McLaren driver, which puts him into 6th place.
Yeah, and interestingly, actually, McLaren driver ahead of Alfa Romeo as well. We spoke about that coming into qualifying, how tight it is, that there's 3 teams separated by 4 points, I think, between 6th and 8th. So Coutinho already getting 1 over on Legend, but Venom's getting 1 over on both of them. Renault, McLaren, Alfa Romeo, big constructors battle you can look out for 6th down to 8th, but Coutinho's 6th ahead of Legend. I think he'll be quite happy with that lap. He'll try and eke a little bit more improvement, I think, as we go later on in the session. Looks like the sun might be trying to break through the clouds ominously.
Oh, don't say that, James. You've jinxed it now, because I'm just riding on board with Killer Blue, and there is a wall of grey up in that sky, so it's not looking encouraging for now. Meanwhile, Killer Blue has just started his flying lap. Now, of course, 7th place in the driver standings right now. Not a bad first season here for Killer Blue.
Yeah, Killer Blue, I think, being one of the... Let's start that again. Killer Blue being one of the best rookies, I think, so far this season. And he comes from that background of League of Europe Division 1. How many times am I going to say that here tonight, I wonder? Killer Blue, 27.9 though through the first sector. And yeah, he's been really consistent. He's been just hammering away at the results. He joined a couple of races into the season as well. So it makes it all the more impressive, I think, for him to be 7th in the championship, ahead of the likes of Legend, Bianchi and Nathan, who've attended more races than him.
Absolutely, and of course he started out as a reserve when he raced in the McLaren at the Netherlands Grand Prix, picking up a 3rd place. Then he made a permanent move to AlphaTauri, and unfortunately, so far he's yet to repeat that feat in that podium spectrum. But of course he's now gone purple through Sector 2 and then chucks it away by invalidating, going through Ascari. Well held though, Killer Blue. He managed to hold on to that one and keep the car facing the right direction, but I think he'll be mightily frustrated with that one.
Yeah, a lot of up-arm strength, I think, was needed to try and thingy. There's a McLaren off in the background. Yes. I think that's Carlsbury on an outlap, is it?
It is, yeah. So he's had a moment through Ascari, but managed to keep it out of the wall, has he? Well, I can't see any damage to that front wing, so it looks like he's going to try and carry on. There's a Renault behind, which I believe this is Navy on a flying lap. It's not. It's actually Venom on an outlap as he makes his way through Parabolica. You've got Navy then, who I will come on to, on a flying lap. Ahead of him, I believe, is the lone Ferrari of Calsper, making his way up towards Parabolica on an outlap. But I hate to say it, James, but I think you're right. The rain has stopped here with 9 minutes to go in qualifying.
Just call me Weatherman James, honestly. Navy coming down towards the line now. He's going to go 2nd, I think, with this. Oh, he's just shy of that, 27.5, but he's only 1,200 to the 2nd of Calsper. Very good lap that from Navy. Calsper has just started his lap as well. But Navy will be quite impressed with that. I think Venom had a spin coming out of turns 1 and 2 through the Retafilio chicane, and he got caught. He doesn't look like he's got any damage, though.
Well, at the moment, 8 out of the 11 drivers have set lap times so far. All of them have been on the intermediate tyres, so that's why we're not showing you what tyres everybody has set their lap on, because they've all set the same time. They've all set a tyre there. But now we've got Josh coming in towards the pit lane, and James, you've spotted something out there.
Yeah, Killer Blue was very awkward coming out of the Ascari chicane as I rode on board with him, but he is purple in the middle sector, so I think he's going to go maybe 2nd with this lap. I said this with Navy, and look what happened, and in fact he's coming into the pit lane, so I'm even more wrong this time.
Well, I think this is going to be the time when drivers actually put on a set of dry tyres and just venture out there and see what happens. Venom, meanwhile, has already invalidated his lap somewhere out there, running very wide on the exit of Ascari as he now makes his way on towards Parabolica. Let's see what Kalsper is up to, and you can see there less and less spray coming off of those tyres. A little bit of understeer as Kalsper turned in towards Parabolica, now makes his way on towards that start-finish strike, gets himself onto that little bit of green AstroTurf there, but he heads towards the line. 26.9 from Kalsper, puts him 0.3 off pole position.
Yeah, just before coming up towards Parabolica as well, DRS enabled came up. So it is now dry compound tyres, but I wouldn't say it's dry because I can still see a bit of spray being kicked off those tyres. The drivers, I think, have got to wait to the 3-minute mark, I would say. Give it about 4 minutes for the delta to change.
Well, I think here in Italy, the track does dry relatively quickly as Kalsper just sets a purple Sector 1 as he now makes his way through that Rettifilio chicane, and amazingly he's not even on a flying lap. He's trying to get back to the pit lane as quickly as he possibly can, and he set a purple Sector 1. That's not bad whatsoever. But yeah, you'll see drivers now coming into the pit lane. Let's have a look and see the fitted tyres. Well, you can see one of the first out on track is Neo. He's emerged on a set of soft tyres, and yeah, a bit of a lock-up in towards the Rettifilio chicane, but he's actually on a flying lap. He's rolled the dice early and going for this one.
He has, and to be honest, he's going to be the first one to see what the track is doing, to be honest. But more than halfway through qualifying, medium pilot on top, Kalsper second, Neo in third. In the first sector, he's 0.3 up, so inevitably, I think, as he goes along this lap, as long as he doesn't pick up any invalidations or doesn't make a mistake, Neo will be going quickest, hand over fist. But I think it might be the case tonight, here in Italy, in qualifying, where we might get one or two drivers who are leaving it late might be the fastest across the line.
Yeah, I think so, because obviously the leaving it to the track is at its optimum, at its best, as Neo now makes his way in through Sector 2, now in through Ascari, and of course he's going to be purple because he's on a dry tyre as he now makes his way on towards that back straight towards Parabolica, once again in the number 14 Haas, making his way now towards that legendary Parabolica. Now how brave is he going to be? 331 kph as he went his way in towards the braking zone, keeping it well in fifth there. Very confident is the answer as he makes his way towards the line. It's going to be quickest, of course it is. It's a 24.5, and expect that lap time to fall and tumble down on this rain-affected qualifying session.
I think we can honestly see those times come down by at least 5 or 6 seconds at least. And I'm just saying that as a conservative approach. So Neil goes quickest. I think we've got Josh out there a second up coming through into the first Lesmo. I think we've also got Siege out on a lap coming to the line. Let's see what he's going to do. Comes across the line. Goes second, 25.3. But I know he can find a lot more time on that as well. Josh is coming down towards the middle sector split. Let's see what he's going to do. As, let's see, 55.1, so he's quicker than Neo through the middle sector by 9/10 at least.
Right, here he goes then through Ascari, riding on board with the Mercedes driver, but he's invalidated there. Now that was the finest of margins on the exit of Ascari there. Now, unlike in Mugello, where you got to use the curb as the racetrack, as long as you kept two wheels on the curb, well, here in Italy, in Monza this time around, they're saying the white line. So if you go beyond the curb with all four tyres, even if you're still on the curb, you will get an invalidation. And they're even stricter in qualifying, so it makes it even more tough to really get the most out of this Italian Grand Prix circuit. I mean, we saw it in the real life qualifying on the exit of Parabolica, where drivers were running wide on the left-hand side to try and open up the track as much as possible down the start-finish straight, and race control were just not having it.
Yeah, race control were not having it, and also with Alex Paroli's incident, they got rid of that sausage curve as well on the outside.
Carlsbury off at Ascari, and the back end just dropped on him there halfway through Ascari, and unfortunately he's met with the wall and he is out of qualifying without having set a time. So that is going to be one for the McLaren garage to scratch their heads over. I mean, they wanted both cars to be doing well. I mean, them and Renault are the only two teams that have fielded a full team of drivers going into the race. So Coutinho here, it all rests on his shoulders to try and get McLaren up the order. 28.0, obviously set on an intermediate tyre, but Coutinho here needs to get himself a good lap because McLaren want to get themselves up from 8th place in these constructors' standings.
Yeah, Colton was struggling early on in qualifying though, so I think his struggles have continued. Obviously now out the session, he can inevitably improve, I think. I'm just watching Legend coming down towards the Scary. He's the next one to be coming across the line. Legend is up 3.3 seconds in the middle sector, so where does that put him? It puts him about 7/10 of a second off Neo at this stage, but inevitably I think he's going to improve. Down into Parabolica, breaks at the 50-metre board nearly. Legend now through, and will reach about 200 mile an hour as he comes across the line, and Legend, in fact, another one that comes into the pit lane.
It's your curse, James. It seems like I'm the only one that can... Actually, he set his fastest time so far in the pit lane. He went 7/10 quicker, even though he went across the pit lane. That's incredible. That's him in ninth. Though. Oh, okay. Are you sure? Because that looks very much like it counted.
No, 28.3 was his first. It was his original best time on a set of inters.
There's me creating drama, but that would have been quite funny, though. To be fair, if he set his fastest lap time whilst also visiting the pit lane. Venom actually has just gone purple through sector 1 with 2 minutes on the clock. Oh, big amount of oversteer on the exit of the Roger chicane. Now, as we head in towards the first Lesmo, now towards the second, but getting too much onto the curb there. All four wheels left the track, and that is his lap time invalidated. So, well, he's going to have to go all over again, but he won't have time to pit in and get himself onto a brand new set of tyres. If he wants to go again, he's got to use this set.
Yeah, he has to, and same with Coginio. I was on board with him. He also invalidated.
No.
He was going quickest.
Wow, Venom there, a full 360. Well, that will do his tyres no good whatsoever. I think he should just abandon that lap, because otherwise, if he sets a quicker lap time on these tyres, he'll have to start on them. So he should just back out now and possibly just call it a day with qualifying. 7th place is not bad. Okay, other drivers going to improve around you, but you don't want to be starting the race on this set of tyres. That's exactly what Venom has done. Yeah,
Venom coming into the pit lane as well. That is him done in the session. So all hopes now for Renault lay on Navy's shoulders, and Navy actually is ahead of Coginio out on track. So he's going to be one of the first ones to come across the line with just a minute to go in qualifying. Neo out on top, Siege in second. But it is going to be, as I said, about 6 or 7 minutes ago, last across the line will get pole position, it seems.
Well, we'll have to wait and see as they now make their way down towards Ascari. As you see there, Killer Blue actually pulled off to the right-hand side to let Navy through. He clearly just wants to see what he can do. Meanwhile, the Mercedes will come across the line to start his flying lap. Neo then will be the first driver to set that final lap here as he now makes his way in towards that Retifidio chicane. Having to stop the car from its fastest point on the track is no easy feat. And of course, you see down the back straight here, it's happening again. I'm getting deja vu. Lots of drivers wanting to be in a bit of clear air, but also wanting that little bit of straight to really use that slipstream there. Luckily, there's only 4 or 5 of them down that back straight, so it's nowhere near as chaotic as Formula 1, or at least Formula 3 we saw there last time around. Navy goes quickest then, 23.0 from the Dutchman so far. Neo, meanwhile, making his way through the second Lesmo in towards that DRS zone, now heading on through Curva del Seraglio, now towards Ascari he will go, riding on board there. Siege now puts the fastest lap time on the board on the medium tyres, 21.4. Neo now negotiating Ascari on this flying lap, now making his way towards Parabolica, the fast right-hander, 5th gear, and try and hold on. Hope the aerodynamics do their job here. Here we go then with the Haas driver flying through on his debut through here in through TTML Division number 1. Neo will try and take the shortest line towards the start-finish line, and it's a 1:19.4 from the Haas driver in his first qualifying session here in TT Masters League. Here comes Josh towards the line, but no improvement. Well, he did go 19.5. It would have put him in second place, but he invalidated his lap time. Let's have a look at the Renault who's next towards the line. It's Navy, but his lap time is invalidated, so it will not count. How about Killer Blue? Because he's on the medium set of tyres, making his way around Parabolica and towards that start-finish line. Can he get himself up the order in that Alpha Tauri? Yes, he can. P2 there for Killer Blue. 120.3. Medium Pilot then next towards the line. He's invalidated his lap time. It will not count. Legend then currently in 10th place in that Alfa Romeo, goes second place with a purple Sector 3. Now puts himself onto the first row of the grid, and that will spell the end of qualifying, and 2 points are going to Neo for that pole position. What a way to get your first points in TT Masters League. Go ahead and grab pole position, but it is Neo who puts it on pole position for the Italian Grand Prix.
I did say he was quick. Neo,
you did.
Neo 19.4, really good lap time. But what was interesting there, and I know he is going to be quite angry for me to mention this, Kalsper was on a valid lap, and he pulled over to the right-hand side of the road behind Coginio and didn't set an improvement on his lap time. I think he would have gone quickest ahead of Neo if he did.
Well, apparently Navy's in the chat there saying that would have been a 19.1, which of course would put him on pole position. But of course, that lap time was invalidated, so unfortunately for him, he's starting down in 5th place. But of course, we know what happens here at the Italian Grand Prix. It is a hectic race, especially down towards the Rettifilo chicane on lap number 1. So Neo, well, he's got his first point of the season. He'll be happy with that one, but he'll want to convert this to a win as best as he possibly can. The question is, James, can he do it?
I think he can, to be honest. I think Neo is in the prime spot, to be honest, to take this win. Legend obviously second, Killer Blue third. Kalsper just saying in there in the chat, tactics was the word. I was thinking that in the back of my mind. I didn't want to mention it, but yeah. Kalsper, Medium Pilot, they've only separated by 3/10. So what the case might be, actually, for 6th, 7th and 8th, certainly, technically a mid-pack to first challenge, I think.
Well, we'll have to see how it all plays out, but here are your results for qualifying. Neo, on his debut, gets his first point of the season by sticking it on pole position. Legend in 2nd place. Killer Blue in 3rd on the medium tyres. Siege, his best qualifying of the season so far. He starts on 4th place on the medium tyres. Navy in 5th place on those soft tyres. What's going to be interesting, though, is Medium Pilot, Kalsper, Josh, Venom and Coginio, they set their fast lap time on the intermediates. If it's a dry start, they get free choice of tyre. Carlsbury, of course, crashing out at Scari. He'll have free choice of tyre anyway because he's outside of the top 10. But that's going to be interesting then, because 6th downwards all have a fresh set of tyres, assuming that it is a dry start. And you would think with that many drivers not wanting to set another lap time, it is dry. So there you go, they get a free choice of tyre. And let me point out, that's a free choice of fresh tyre, brand new tyre. So you can see now why the likes of Kalsper decided not to set a lap time, because now they get to choose whichever tyre they like.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, from a tactical point of view, it's an absolute genius stroke, I think, from all of the guys who obviously qualified on a set of inters, didn't then improve. Some of them were invalid laps. Legend and Coginio, I think, were both invalid, so they didn't set an improvement on their times. But it's going to be really fascinating, I think, to see how these guys get on. The creme de la creme, really, at the top end of the field, starting 6th, 7th and 8th. Be really intriguing to find out how we go on. But if I was to put my money on it, I think Neil's going to win. I think Neil's going to win this because he's got the advantage of being on that Telesoft compound tyre already. So Neil for the win. I'm going to go... I'm trying to think of it here. Kalsper 2nd, Medium Pilot 3rd. Don't rule out Killer Blue, though.
Well, we now make our way on towards the formation lap then, and of course Neo will probably be one of those ones to watch. He is, of course, on pole position. First race here in TT Masters League in the Haas, sticks it on pole position. What a way to make a mark here in the league. Now he'll try and convert this to a win to try and get his best result of the season. Which won't be difficult because any result he posts will be his best result of the season. Legend in 2nd, though, meanwhile. He hasn't been up the order recently, but he'll be wanting to try and change that. And especially with the Alfa Romeo team there, they'll be wanting him to score as many points as possible. Last time out, top 3. Well, let's have a look and see where they all are, if they are in the race. Medium Pilot there in 6th place on a set of medium tyres. Let's see what the field is starting on in the air. As you can see, 6th downwards, free choice of tyre. They're going on the medium tyre, so that will be medium to hard to get themselves to the end of the race. Only 3 drivers starting on the soft tyres. That's Neo, Legend and Navy. They all qualified on those soft tyres, so they will be trying to get their way through the order as quickly as possible. Recon, though, unfortunately not here tonight. He was the man who finished in second place last time out, and Perpetum also not here in the Mercedes, our championship leader. So this is a perfect opportunity for someone to try and take full advantage, and the one to take full advantage will try to be Medium Pilot, championship leader right now, with second place in the championship not here tonight. Calspur third in the championship right behind him. Should be an intriguing one for Medium Pilot. How hard does he push?
Push very hard, I think, in the early stages to try and get past the likes of Siege. I was just having a look actually at the pit stop strategies. Softs to mediums to softs might be the way to go. I saw on the Sieges it could be lap 15 to 16 for a set of softs to come on to those tyres. The softs can last around 9 laps before they go off, I think.
Well, obviously that means I'm no good at strategy, but that means I'm up here for a reason. But there is Neo then, who lines up on pole position. Legend there in second place, of course, in the Alfa Romeo, in an Italian team. Will want to be doing well here today. So too will Killer Blue in the Alpha Tauri. But let's see how this all unfolds as we head our way down towards turn 1 for the very first time. The wait is almost over for the Italian Grand Prix. And here in Monza, it is 5 red lights. And we're underway. What are the starts like? Great start from Neo. Good start from Legend as well. And further down the order, Medium Pilot has got a sensational start. He's had to go way off the track to try and make that momentum work. Neo's got a great start. Down towards turn 1 we go. And in towards the Retifidio chicane. Then the Alpha Tower of Killer Blue trying to make his way all the way through. Navy going side by side now as he manages to hold the traction there. A little bit of an excursion there for Siege as he falls down to 11th place. He started in 4th. Medium Pilot, meanwhile, from 6th place on the grid, now up to 2nd as we now make our way now down towards the Rogier chicane, following Killer Blue all the way through. Calspur right behind him. He knows he has to try and get up the order as quickly as he possibly can. In towards the first Lesmo here in the Ferrari. This is where the most pressure is going to be throughout this entire race, in that Ferrari. Here in front of the Tifosi, they'll be expecting a big result here for Ferrari to try and take advantage of only one Mercedes. As you can see there, predicted pit stop strategy, well, soft to medium is the predicted strategy. We'll have to see how that plays out, but at the moment all 11 cars have safely made it through, and Josh meanwhile finds himself down to 9th place, but they're going side by side through Ascari. That's not normally a place you will go side by side, and Legend pulls off that move.
Brilliant move by Legend. He was right round the outside of Josh. I have to give him a round of applause for that, but they're still side by side down into Parabolica. Josh down the inside line, Legend around the outside. Legend, I think, is just about to come out on top. But look at Coginio. It's going to be 3 wide down the straight. Siege at Colesbury and Josh all got into a little bit of trouble. There was 3 wide coming out of the Westphalia chicane, and Siege was retired from the race.
Yeah, Siege out of this race, unfortunately. He's retired on his own accord, and now we are down to 10. Meanwhile, though, Neo got a good start there. He's up the order. He's in first place, but Medium Pilot, remember, he's on a fresh set of medium tyres, now is up to 2nd place. So a great start there from our championship leader, and this is what is going to be known as a champion's drive. If he can try and pull off the race win here, having started 6th place in a tricky qualifying session to further extend his lead at the top of the table, well, that's going to be a huge marker set down to the likes of Petum and the likes of Calspur too.
Yeah, he's on a set of mediums. Obviously, Neo away there on a set of softs. I think the gap is probably going to be about 1.2 seconds as they're coming down in towards the Scari. It says it's lap 3, by the way, as well, and it's not. Venom is through on Killer Blue, though. Down the inside, that was a dive bomb. Down the inside from Venom on Killer Blue, gets the move done. Don't judge the graphics on the left-hand side by your cover, because Killer Blue now trying to go around the outside of Venom. This is down in towards the Scari. Ascari? Parabolica this is. Venom on the inside line just about hangs off. The DRS will be enabled this lap around. Neo sets a new fastest lap of the race, 22.1. In Killer Blue, he uses up a bit of overtake mode. He's going to be right on the back of Venom, down in towards turn 1. It is the closest battle out on track. Venom switches to the inside. Venom is trying to park, though, that car as close as possible to the middle of the track, and he manages to do that, and he holds on for 5th position for now. But look at the training behind.
Absolutely. If you wondered why you were riding on board there and saw Killer Blue's DRS light up, well, he couldn't actually activate it. Although it was activated or deployed or whatever, he couldn't actually press that button because it wasn't actually activated on that lap. So he'll have to wait till the next lap around before he can have a try down towards the Retifido chicane. And meanwhile, there is the Alfa Romeo, and Medium Pilot's in trouble through the first Lesmo.
He's had a controller disconnect or a wheel disconnect or something there. That was so strange right on board with him. I think his controller's disconnected, or his wheel certainly disconnected, I think, out on track. He was going very nicely into the corner. He was right on the back of Neo. It was 4/10 the gap. He picked up right side end plate damage. And I think that is down to a wheel glitch. And Josh is through on Coginio, and Carlsbury's round through Ascari.
Yeah, Carlsbury around Ascari once again as he tries to make his way back out onto the track. In fact, he's retired now. Oh, no! Once again, why do you retire out on track? It's caught out medium pilot. The ghosting doesn't work, and it's taken out the championship leader. Well, virtual safety car has been deployed. Neo still at the top of the table. Navy in second place. Calsper in third. And why, oh why, can you not get back to the pit lane to at least retire the car?
I know, it is common sense, I think. It is within the rule book for you to retire in the pit lane as a premium, to be honest. Even though the AI car would still come out the pit lane and retire anyways out on track. It's common sense. Come on. It is common sense. It's taking out the championship leader. We've been robbed, I think, of a good battle. And if medium pilot's race couldn't get any worse after that wheel disconnect, it just has.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Neo, though, will be looking at the Delta. He'll be looking all around. He's got Navy behind him, though, who Navy now has been in a good bit of form, actually. The Dutchman, he's been a bit quiet so far, but he can see that lead ahead of him. The only problem is we're now back under green flag racing. The top two, of course, are on the soft tyres they qualified on, whereas everybody else around them, really, on those medium tyres, they're all fresh medium tyres. So they're going to be looking to try and extend their stint as long as possible. Meanwhile, the top two will have to make do with some worn soft tyres until their pit window opens. Now, of course, it's going to be tricky to get the strategy absolutely right here. The clouds don't look too encouraging, I have to be honest with you, but I'm sort of thinking that we would have seen longer stints if there was rain later on in the race. We wouldn't have seen this real split of strategies if the rain was supposed to be here much, much earlier. Here is Legend, though, meanwhile, on the back of Killer Blue. Two Italian teams here making their way now down towards the Rettifilio chicane. Legend on the inside, the AlphaTauri of Killer Blue on the outside. Soft tyre versus medium tyre. Killer Blue manages to hold on there. He had that little bit of DRS to help him defend. Riding on board with Josh here as we see them go through Curva Grande. Legend is looking for a way past. He can't find it yet, though. With no DRS down towards the Roger chicane, though, the AlphaTauri makes himself as wide as possible going in towards the Roger chicane. Holds on now to 5th place.
Got to take your hat off there to Killer Blue's defence. That was a brilliant defensive drive from Killer Blue to battle off Legend. Legend was running in about 15% of ERS when he got to him as well. So even more impressive, I think, for Killer Blue. Josh is on the back of this as well. They're now opening up all the DRS. Legend trying to have a run at Killer Blue. But that use of overtake, though, that use of ERS as well, has really cost him. He couldn't get close enough to the back of Killer Blue. And I think it's because, obviously, Killer Blue's still within DRS range on Venom. And he's just about going to be within DRS range.
Never judge a league by how many people turn up. Judge the league by how good this racing is. 5th, 6th and 7th, all separated by just a little bit of tarmac. And also Venom's only just up the road as well. We've got a fantastic battle for 4th place on our hands. Josh is looking here to try and make his way through on Legend. The only problem is, you see there, Legend has got his DRS wide open. Almost 350 kph then from Josh as he tries to make a move down the inside in towards that Rettifilio chicane. The Mercedes knows that this is a crucial moment here. He's on the outside of turn 2, but you saw there, the Alfa Romeo just got a snap of oversteer, had to back out of it, and Josh in the Mercedes moves up to 6th place. How crucial was that?
Josh moved across on Legend down into the braking zone as well, not intentionally. He just put him that little bit wide, saying, I'm here to stay. Legend got the bit of oversteer out of the corner, through the Rettifilio chicane. Josh is through and he's up into 6th place. Very smart driving there from Josh. He's got Killer Blue just in front of him as well, out on track. But got to be careful because Coginio is coming into play as well.
Who said you needed a full field of 20? No one. Just a little bit of blue sky poking through the sky there as we see, hopefully, the track starts to really evolve into a great racing surface for these drivers. Of course, with it being overcast, it can result in some of the tyres wearing at a higher rate. You just never know with the tyre deck. Meanwhile, Josh, though, is getting up close and personal with that AlphaTauri of Killer Blue, both on the medium tyres, both on a fresh set of medium tyres as they now make their way down the start-finish straight. You can see the track is getting brighter. The sky is opening up. Here comes Josh then, opening up that that move down the start-finish straight with the DRS and gets that move done. Meanwhile, Legend is looking to take advantage too, down in towards the Rettifido chicane, and in the blink of an eye for the Alpha Tower, he's lost 2 positions.
Yeah, unfortunate for Killer Blue, he couldn't really do much about it because the overspeed of the guys in behind. Josh and the Legend now filtering through to 5th and 6th respectively. Coutinho could have a go at him down in towards the Della Roggia chicane coming up into turns 4 and 5. But it's not going to be close enough. Remember as well, with this new patch update, we have got new liveries on the car, and it's very nice to see a rainbow band on the livery of that McLaren. And I didn't realise on Saturday, if you've seen it on my Twitter, that Husky chocolate is on the back of the McLaren. Yeah, that was a funny moment in League of Europe, but still.
Well, absolutely. I had to look back there. I couldn't see it there. However, I'll take your word for it. The McLaren, meanwhile, of Coutinho is looking to try and get him onto the back of Killer Blue. And obviously the McLarens here haven't had a great start to this race. They're down one driver. Their other driver is last of the runners so far. But we've still got 21 laps to go, 20 and a bit if you're picky, because Neo is about to start lap number 8.
Yeah, Neo leading. It's a second. Navy is just in DRS range. I thought actually he was just out of it, but he's not. He's just within DRS range. He was 2 tenths quick on his personal best last time around as well. And Navy's just been trying to eke into that advantage. He'll be hoping, with him starting on that set of soft compound tyre, that he can try and make some inroads into the back of Neo. Neo is quick. Navy is quick on his day as well. And I think Josh is right on the back of Venom, who's all sideways coming out of the Recopilio chicane.
Yeah, here we go then through Curva Grande, and you can see here Josh really trying to make the most out of 7th gear, get everything out of the engine you possibly can. Josh is a man on a mission today, currently in 5th place, now making his way through the Roger chicane. A little bit of oversteer on the exit. Of course, 4th place in this championship right now on 115 points. Kalsper, a championship rival of his, is only 2 places up the road, but still ahead of him in the championship. So Josh has got to get a move on if he wants to try and take advantage of one driver at least in medium pilot out of this race. Perpetum not in this race either, goes down as a DNS. So this is Kalsper and Josh's chance to try and get some points on the championship leaders. As Josh, it's a big moment there through the last part of Ascari, just about held on there, but he's lost a ton of time. Coutinho, meanwhile, further back, has taken advantage. I think Killer Blue made a mistake there going through Ascari, and so the McLaren has now moved up to 7th.
Yeah, Killer Blue made the same mistake as Josh actually. He got a lot more oversteer than what was actually needed. So Killer Blue now down into 8th position. He's lost a whole chunk of time. Here comes Josh Lowe on the back of Venom. This is down in towards turn 1 at the Rettifido chicane. Josh on the inside line, Venom on the outside line, and it's just easy as that. Josh is through and he's up into P4. I think Venom didn't really know how to fight that one, to be honest, but he could fight it through Curva Grande. No, Josh just pulled away. Well,
Venom here has got a lot more ERS battery to deploy because he's on 49%, meanwhile Josh is on 8%. And once that number goes to orange, it starts deploying at half the rate. Even though you've got it in overtake, it still deploys at half the rate so that you don't run down to 0% ERS. Otherwise the battery, it's so difficult to recharge a battery that's got no charge in it. So that's why that happens. So for Josh here, he's got to do a little bit of ERS management, which I think he'll be doing right about now. The only problem is Venom has got a much higher battery to use and can use it for a lot longer than Josh can, closing right up to the back of that Mercedes as we now make our way through Ascari. Nice and planted from both cars this time around as they make their way towards Parabolica. Venom in that slipstream and Josh here weaving left and right. Not sure what he plans to do there. Meanwhile, Venom has now closed right up to the back of that Mercedes. Maybe Josh is saying you're not getting through no matter how hard you try. Well, with some ERS to deploy here, he might have a run here. Now going down the start-finish straight. Neo, by the way, the race leader, into the pits for his first stop of the race. Venom really closing up to the back of this Mercedes. Where will he go? Will he go right? Will he go left? He'll go right to the inside, in towards the Rettifido chicane. They do make a little bit of contact, give each other the room through that second part of the Rettifido chicane, and Venom just can't quite get that move done.
Yeah, Venom realised, I think, he was going to use Josh as a bit of a brake marker going down in towards turn 1, and he looked like he backed off that move as well. So that's quite intuitive driving, I think, from the Scotsman. We normally see him go for moves and not give back the place. Good to see him giving back the place on that occasion, because I think Josh had absolutely no chance, to be honest. Venom got the move nearly done down in towards turn 1, but Josh, I think, fair respect and play there for Venom He's fourth and he can have another crack at him, and he could have another crack at him down in towards the scoring. I think you know what is going to come. He's closing in, but he's going to stay in behind by the looks down in towards the scoring. Neil, by the way, in, and Legend also in, all on a 7 medium compound tyres. They're going to the end. 18 laps can do it.
Well, let's see then. Riding on board with Venom then, because this is our battle right now on track for third place. Navy, meanwhile, still in the lead of this race, but we're expecting him sooner rather than later to make his stop. And in fact, he's coming in now from the lead of the race. Josh now defending to the inside line. He's trying to make that run out of the corner as short as possible to try and extend that run. Meanwhile then, Venom is looking to try and close in on Josh, but he's not quite as close this time around. As you saw, the graphic on that right hand side, obscured by some of my graphics even, has the soft tyre pit window has now opened. So as you can see, all the drivers really trying to make the undercut work and try and spend as much time as possible on these medium tyres.
Yeah, just speaking about Navy actually coming out the pit lane as well. 2 seconds the gap between Neil and Navy for what is essentially that lead of the race. But Josh is going to try and pull the gap to Calspert. 4.8 seconds the gap. Venom is on the back of him, trying to fight the car coming out of the first Lesmo. Really good recovery there. As Coginio and Killer Blue are trying to eke into that advantage as well. Coginio, I think, more than Killer Blue is trying to eke into that advantage. Here comes Venom, though, on the back of Josh. Not using up any overtake mode again. Not using up any DRS, actually, down in Trascari. Josh picks up a 3-second time penalty. Venom very minutely gets caught on the outside curb. But Josh, gotta be honest, he's looking like a sitting duck now.
Yeah, but Venom here will not try that move down towards Ascari. You saw there, Josh moved once to defend the position, then moved back to the racing line. That is perfectly allowed. That's perfectly legal move there that Josh did. But here comes Venom now. As you see there, Josh is trying to take a different line through Parabolica to try and take advantage of the exposed run that Venom does have. Venom, again, will close and close and close, but not this time around. What's interesting for me, as I was riding aboard with the Renault, as he made his way down the Curva del Seraglio in towards Ascari, he manually closed his DRS when he was gaining on the Mercedes, and that's because he doesn't want to be too close to the Mercedes going through Ascari, because you get that dose of dirty air. Venom, meanwhile, again, no real move on going into the Del Roggia chicane. He has to stay behind once again, and that's just encouraging the likes of Coginio and Killer Blue to close up as we head through the first Lesmo.
I've got to be honest, I think Venom is doing this more to pressurise Josh and warn him that he's coming. I think Venom, right on the back, not really getting the great exit at the second Lesmo, but you can see Josh weaving now, and that weave might have been costly, because here comes Venom to absolutely swamp up past him. That shouldn't have been allowed, to be honest, from Josh. That weave really cost him. Venom through, and he's up into second. How we'd want to go and rewind time on that one.
Well, I think Josh here is trying to prioritise the DRS down the start-finish straight, because it's a longer deployment. You get more DRS. The only thing is now he's got to rely on his ERS slight tap on Venom behind, unintentional of course, and you see the two different lines there. Venom looking to try and use that line on the outside to try and open up the circuit. Josh meanwhile looking to try and make that straight as short as possible. Here comes Josh then with that DRS, and you can see there it's a much more effective DRS activation point, as you can see Venom trying to defend from the McLaren of Coginio up the inside. Coginio was well in his right to try that move, but you saw there Venom was desperate to close that door. Unfortunately though, Coginio really had half his car inside that door already.
Yeah, Coginio had a really good shout actually going down in towards Sermon to try and get the move done. Venom hanging on for grim life. On the straight though, I've got to be a little bit critical of Venom here, and I've seen his praises so far. But Venom moved across to give a little bit of a wheel bang to Josh. This was on the straight, not something normally you see. Just trying to pinpoint that out for the stewards. It probably might have not been intentional. Just want to try and point to that. But Venom now on the back of Josh. Here he comes again. Josh to the inside line. And Venom this time is going to play him in his own game. He stays in behind. Yeah, and that's what's going to be the strategic point here. The only problem is that's inviting Coginio. And there you can see Josh actually moves to the left-hand side of the track so that he can now have that DRS down the start-finish straight. So that's, you know, this is the strategy with that DRS.
He does tap the back of him, but no damage there as they now make their way through Parabolica. There is Coutinho. Look at try and move up the inside. Josh has to give him the room. He can't go down the right-hand side. Venom trying to defend here. Coutinho onto the advertising on the outside of the track. He's still got a bit of tarmac, but there's grass upcoming. He has to back out of that, and they make it all through in towards the Retafilio chicane. Josh in P2, Venom P3, Coutinho P4.
And Coutinho and all of that picked up a 3-second time penalty as well for running over the advertising boardings. Being really unfair, I think, with the track extension. I think he might seek to get that one removed. But that was a good spectacle, I think. 3 wide down in towards turn 1. Nearly pulled off. I think Coutinho probably would have got the run on these two ahead if he had the clear track. Venom just tried to shut the door on him as soon as he came back across. And that is what has cost Coutinho now. He's just off the back. Killer Blue is getting closer, but he's not close enough. He's saving up his ERS, but he's not close enough to the back of these guys. I thought he would have been making more of an inroad than what he's been doing so far. More than halfway through, Calspur leads Josh second, Venom third.
Yeah, and of course the top 5 still have to make their pit stop. They still have to visit the pit lane at least once in this race. And Neo there is 9.4 behind Killer Blue. We're going to see this again, aren't we, down the start-finish straight. And Killer Blue is 1.9 behind. He just has to stay within touching distance of these three because they are really giving each other a hard time. On their way through Parabolica, Josh is into the pits then from that second place, so now releases Venom and Coutinho. The thing about Venom is he's already got that DRS, so he can defend pretty well from the McLaren as we make our way now down towards that Retafilio chicane. Josh, meanwhile, getting himself onto a set of soft tyres. That should get him to the end of the race. But which tyre is going to be the better tyre? Obviously, you're going down the pit lane here, 80 kilometres per hour compared to Legend right now, who's doing right now 316. So that's the speed difference here. You lose a lot of time in that Monza pit lane, and Legend here is going to get out ahead of Josh. And what I should be saying is Josh re-emerges from the pit lane behind the Alfa Romeo, but on those soft tyres, he's going to try and make them work for the next 13 laps.
He's going to try and go for the move down and towards the Della Roggia chicane. You can already see it actually now in operation because Josh to the inside line. Legend had absolutely no chance of defending that. I'm sorry, Legend. But Josh is through and he's up into 7th position. Fresh set of soft compound tyres, fresh set of boots. There he goes. Coutinho as well on the back of Venom. I think Josh has overcommitted slightly on that set of softs though. I have a feeling they might not get to the end of the race.
Well, he's tried the undercut, hasn't he? Because the undercut here is powerful. And that's the main thing. I think he'll try and prioritise track position later on in this race. As you say, though, the tyre wear is going to be a concerning factor. Coutinho and Venom into the pits, but Venom left that way too late, and he's got himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He tried to dummy Coutinho, but the only problem is Coutinho's right behind him. That's really not going to happen, considering there's a long straight on your left-hand side. However, they're both in then. Venom in, but he's got to serve that 5-second penalty. Now, of course, it's a pit lane, or it's a stop-and-go penalty, if you like. That doesn't have to be served in the pit lane. You can serve it after your race. But Josh goes all the way through, sets himself a purple sector 3 as well, just for good measure. Legend there in 5th place. Coutinho re-emerges ahead of Venom there. So that is a pit stop that's gone badly wrong for the Renault as he re-emerges behind that McLaren. And they're now all on the soft tyres to get to the end. So every driver has now made their pit stop. 12 to go here in Monza. Strap yourselves in. This is going to be a hectic one.
Calspur's still yet to pit, actually, in the lead of the race.
Well, once Calspur's in, everyone will have pitted, and you'll strap yourselves in. Venom getting a big moment there, big slide out of the Della Roggia chicane, manages to hold on to it, but he's really pushing that McLaren hard.
He's pushing the limits too much, I think, now. He's got a little bit of gravel on those tyres. He needs to get rid of that as soon as possible. Now he's looking low on the back of Coutinho. Calspur is into the pits from the lead of the race. He's going to come out, I think, in an easy P3, to be honest. Josh, obviously, been battling and being held up. I think Calspur is guaranteed for a net P3 when he comes out to the pit lane. He's on a set of soft compounded tyres. I tell you this now, Calspur is going to be the one to watch later on in this race, and that is a terrible, wavy camera angle coming out the pit lane.
Well, on board with Venom here as he looks to try and get away past Coutinho down the start-finish straight. Here comes Venom, then of course he's got those 5 seconds worth of penalties. They're both actually closing up on the Alfa Romeo. And I see what Venom's done here. He's tried to box the McLaren in as we now head our way down towards turn 1 and 2, the Retafilio chicane. He's got the outside line, he's got the traction, smart driving from the Renault, and he's up a position.
Yeah, he could get another one as well with Legend, and he is going to go for it now into the De La Rocha chicane. Venom switches to the outside through Curva Grande. Job done. Here comes Cagino as well, just in behind. He launches it down the inside, and Legend's lost 2 positions. He has to force over the sleeping policeman. Cagino lets him go. I think they're still side by side, and actually it's Legend who's the one that's suffering. Cagino around the outside. Oh, off camera corner. Cagino's got that move done. Right around the outside on the first left, though. He's through, and he's up into 6th position. Legend, well, he's just been absolutely swamped.
Yeah, I think he'll feel a bit hard done by there because he was given really no room in towards the De La Rocha chicane. In any sense, though, Cagino and Venom find their way both through as Cagino picks up a 3-second time penalty. Now, of course, the rules state that those 3-second time penalties can't be contested. In very rare circumstances can you get your 5-second penalty removed, especially when it's speeding through the pit lane. That's 99% of the time the correct call because it's just automated. Meanwhile, then, Calsper on the soft tyres, looking for a move on Navy. Look at this, 344 kph then in towards the Retafido chicane on the soft tyres, gets his way past Navy, and Calsper now only 3.8 seconds behind Neo. Can Calsper ruin what would be Neo's fairy tale debut?
Yes, I think he can. He's on a fresh set of soft compound of tyres. Neo will be getting closed down probably around a second a lap. Killer Blue, by the way, got through on Legends as well. He is through and he's up to 7th. Nice diving move down the inside into turn 1. And Killer Blue is going to come into play, I think. Venom and Cagino are going to have their own private battle. Legends just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Killer Blue now could be the favourite out of these bottom guys from 5th down to 8th. Of getting a top 5 finish, I think. Killer Blue have got the pace, and you can already see he just had a DRS range there, but surely down the straight he's going to be within DRS range.
Well, lap 18, we have 10 laps to go, 9 and a bit if you're picky, as we now make our way through Ascari, following Cagino all the way through and onwards now towards the Parabolica corner. It's such a legendary corner here in Monza, and of course this used to be part of the real testing track they used in the 60s where they combined this and the oval, but back in those days they didn't have a Retafilio chicane, they didn't have a Roger chicane, they were just flat out all the way through, and I think that was more like 82% of the lap was full throttle compared to nowadays of 75%. So it's how times have changed. Obviously the oval now has become dilapidated, it's become outdated and unfortunately beyond repair. So we'll never see cars racing there again, and how narrow the oval is, I'm sure the drivers will be glad that they never have to race there again. But it's if you ever get to go to Monza, I've never been, but go to the banking. If you're allowed, if you can get your way through, legally of course, get onto that banking, because you don't realise how steep it actually is until you're halfway up it, because there's still all that way to go.
Yeah, lots of banking in Italy, obviously, but why would you go to an oval where you can go around the shape of a boot?
Absolutely. Oh, well, there you go. That settles it. That absolutely settles it. Cagino, meanwhile, making life difficult for Venom here. This is the battle for 5th place as we now make our way through Ascari and now onwards towards Parabolica. You can see there Venom weaving left and right. I'm not really sure what that's going to prove here for Cagino as we now make our way in towards that Parabolica corner. Long right-hander. Patience is key here to get the throttle down. Cagino now, look at this, he's already closing on Venom here. He hasn't even opened the DRS on that McLaren as we make our way now down the start-finish straight. Cagino should be able to come across and he gets that move done. Meanwhile then Josh gets a move up the inside of Navy. He's got it done.
Round the outside through the Retafido chicane. He was running out of ERS all the way down that straight, but Josh has made that look one pretty easy. Navy will not be happy that he got the door shut. Josh had the car ahead. Fair play to him, he's up into 3rd. Great drive so far from Josh, and Calsper's 1.5 seconds away from Leo. He's eating into that advantage.
He is indeed. Meanwhile, we're still watching that battle for 5th place at the moment because it's such a close battle. These two drivers are so evenly matched on pace. Both sets of teams, McLaren and Renault, want to try and prioritise scoring those points. They've got Navy up there in 4th place, have Renault. They want Venom as high up the order as possible, so 5th place is going to become paramount. It's going to be key. It's going to be crucial. It's every single one of those words as Venom closes in slowly but surely once again on the back of the McLaren.
Calsper just within DRS range on Neo as well this lap around. Just running on board at 7/10 of a second. The gap. Carlsberg has played an absolute blinder, I think, in terms of strategy here tonight. Neo looks to be a sitting duck. It's like Recon and Medium Pilot all over again, I think, last week. But I just think it's with two different drivers, obviously. Venom on the back of Kagini running down in towards turn one. Look at the closing speed of Venom. He's going to have the job done even before the corner comes. And Venom is through, and he's up into 5th position. This is a side of Venom, I think, that we haven't seen for a while. A more conservative Venom, not going for moves that aren't really there. And Venom, I think, is driving out of his skin here tonight.
Well, he has to, because he's got those 5 seconds to make up. That will be added to the end of his race. Meanwhile, Carlsberg has really closed up to the back of the Haas then with 8 laps to go as we now make our way in through the second Lesmo, now on towards the Curva del Seraglio as we now make our way down towards Ascari once again. Carlsberg will wait for that start-finish straight and the heavy braking zone of the Retafilo chicane. To be honest with you, I don't think he'll need it. The closing speed he'll have on the Haas, the amount of life still left in his tyres, I don't think he'll worry about the corner coming up. Carlsberg in that slipstream of Neo as we now make our way through Coutinho, picking up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Riding on board now with the Ferrari in front of the Tifosi. Get ready for those sea of red to make a standing ovation as Carlsberg pulls to the right-hand side with Neo on his left, gives him a wave as he goes through and takes the lead here in Monza in front of the Tifosi. They'll be absolutely ecstatic about that one. Finally, here, they see a Ferrari leading the race.
Carlsberg through and he's into the lead of the race. Yeah, Kagini was through as well on Venom. Oh, he gets caught in the grass actually, coming through turn one. I could give Venom a run coming into the Curva Grande, but no. Husky Chocolate through and he's up into 5th position. Mr. Kagini, the German, and Husky Chocolate, by the way, is on the back of the McLaren. So there you go.
So there you go. Here comes Venom then, looking to see if he can have a taste of that chocolate in towards the Della Roggia chicane, but no dice as Coutinho gets away. Venom actually picking up a little bit of gravel on the outside of the Della Roggia chicane, so that's obviously cost him a little bit of momentum, and that might cost him a real chance of closing up, heading towards the Ascari chicane. Whilst this is happening, Navy is only 1.5 seconds up the road. Of course, he's on the medium tyres. Coutinho and Venom both on the soft tyres. So this could be a chance for Coutinho and Venom to get another position here. But of course, they're not going to be working together, not by a long shot. They're going to make life still difficult for each other. Yellow flag in sector 3, and that's Killer Blue, who's out of the race. He's lost it big time going through Ascari, and unfortunately, he becomes another retirement in this race. Complete, I would assume, that is driver error, and a safety car has been deployed in the very, very late stages of this race as James gives himself a little fist bump there. Coutinho is in. So what I am assuming now is that most of these drivers will come in for a set of the soft tyres. Now, of course, Carlsberg's got a big decision to make here. Does he stay out on these soft tyres, or does he come in and pit for a new set?
If they want to make this race interesting, they should all pit in onto a set of soft compound of tyres and have what will be 3 laps to the end of the race. When the safety car obviously comes back in, it should be about 25, it should be on lap 25 out of 27. So we will get a dash to the line. But these guys have got to be careful. These guys that have came out the pit lane have got to be careful. Everybody has got to stick to their delta time, even those guys that have came out the pit lane. I remember in the last game, where those guys that were coming out the pit lane didn't have to stick to a delta time because there was a glitch within the game. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think the top 5 should come in though.
But will they? That's the thing. It's all well and good saying they should come in, but will they? What will they be thinking? I think Carlsberg here will be thinking, why oh why did there have to be a safety car? I was perfectly fine leading this one. For Neo though, it's a second chance. If he pits in, he gets onto a set of soft tyres, he'll have Josh to keep him company, but at least then he'll be on a level playing field with those soft tyres. It looks like Carlsberg then, is he going to pit in? No! Carlsberg stays out. Neo comes in, Josh comes in, Navy on the medium tyres, I assume, will... No, he stays out.
Stays out?
So Navy stays out. Venom also stays out. Coutinho has obviously pitted, so too has Legend. So, well, this is going to be an interesting one. Calsper stays out, as does Navy and Venom. So Neo now will rejoin. He'll come back out in 4th place on a fresh set of the soft tyres. Josh will rejoin in 5th here, I assume, as he makes his way now down towards the start-finish straight. Obviously, with that pit lane on the right-hand side, once it ends on the right-hand side, you'll see it keeps going and going. It's a long, long pit lane exit, but there, just at the exit there, that is when you're part of the track again. Whilst you're in the pit lane, in theory, you can gun for it and try and get as many positions as possible. Once that white line ends, you then have to form up at the delta, and so any overtakes will happen there under the safety car. But at the moment then, Calsper leading this way then. Well, by the time we get restarted, there'll be about 2 laps to go, I reckon. Maybe 3 or 2 laps to go. So possibly a good move from Calsper, but he's now got to work harder, even harder. He's got 2 Renaults behind him in Navy and Venom. Neo down in 4th place. Josh in 5th, Coutinho 6th, and Legend in 7th place. His nearest rival, Calsper, is Josh, down there in 5th place. Calsper will be wanting to try and take 30 points away from this race. If he wanted a chance of getting the fastest lap of the race, well, it was never there to start with. Only by 200th of a second, though. Calsper on a used set of soft tyres. Josh and Neo on a set of fresh, brand new soft tyres. You would think that it's in their advantage to grab that extra point for the fastest lap of the race, so long as they can make it to the checkered flag, of course.
Yeah, I think, honestly, Neo's at the advantage here of getting the whole field, I think. Because Calsper, I think, has misjudged this. Navy, not so much. He can gamble. He can go on that set of mediums to the end of the race. Venom, as well. He can gamble, I think, towards the end of the race. But from my perspective, Neo's going to be a lot quicker. They're not going to be, these tyres, these fresh softs, aren't going to be picking up the same amount of tyre wear as the guys ahead. They're going to be running at about 1% less per lap under the safety car than they would if they were racing at full 75% full throttle around the whole track. So it's going to be really intriguing, I think. We are in for possibly the craziest, but hopefully the most exciting 2 laps of the season so far.
Absolutely, and of course that's it. That's all that's left in this race, 2 laps. Calsper has weighed it up and thought, you know what, I'm going to stay out because it's only 2 laps I have to defend. And all of that is without DRS. The rest of this race now, we'd have no DRS. That's it. That's it, gone now. So it's literally straight line speed, drag, no DRS. So Calsper's probably thought all of that through and thought, you know what, it's not worth the risk pitting in for fresh tyres because there is no DRS. There will be no more DRS for the rest of this race because the amount of laps it takes to activate the DRS, of course, 3 laps. We only have 2 left. So this is going to be Calsper at his very best, trying to push that car as hard as possible with no DRS anywhere on the circuit. That's going to make Neo and Josh's life a little bit more tricky, especially down at the start-finish straights, because, of course, they don't have that extra 20 to 30 kph that you get with the DRS around here to really take advantage. Of course, now the safety car lights are off, so now Calsper becomes the lead car, and hopefully these guys will know how to follow a car ahead and follow it and match for pace. At least I hope so.
Neo was holding up the rest of the field.
Well, he has to stay within 10 car lengths, of course. But there we go. So Neo has actually got himself a 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag. So I wonder if there was some sort of overtake that happened there. Meanwhile, then Calsper will make his way around Parabolic. He can't go too early, of course, because the safety car's not even in the pit lane yet. From any point now, he can go. I'm getting a bit of deja vu here as we make our way towards the line. We'll get underway very, very shortly. We get our way underway now. Green flag racing we go. Calsper leads the field down towards the Rettifilio chicane. Navy will be looking. This is his best chance to try and take the race lead away. Venom locks up, collects Calsper in towards the Rettifilio chicane. There's debris everywhere, bits of carbon fibre everywhere. And look who's taken full advantage. Josh finds himself in the lead of this race on fresh, soft tyres. You can't ride this stuff.
I'm speechless. Venom is on the back of Navy. Unfortunately for Venom, he just overcooked it going through the corner into the back of Calsper. I don't think, honestly, anybody got away with that with at least a little bit of contact. Josh is through and he's into the lead of the race. He's going to pull away from Calsper. It makes you wonder, was that done for strategy?
Well, I have to say, Josh now is on a fresh set of soft tyres. There's no more DRS now. It's going to be made much more difficult. Navy and Venom running side by side as we head towards Ascari. Venom can't find that way through. He wants to find that way through. He's on used soft tyres as he makes his way through. Bit of a moment there on the exit of Ascari, and now they're trying to go through. Venom finds his way past his teammate. Coutinho now is on the outside as we head towards that final corner. In through we go, through Parabolica. Coutinho has to go the long way around the outside at Parabolica. Makes it stick then. We head now onto the final lap of the race. Look at the right-hand side. There's Legend, who's now trying to find his way through. From 6th place at the start of this straight, he's now up to 4th place. Surely they're not going to try 3 wide, and surely he's not going to try and move for 3rd place here. Down towards the Retifidio chicane we go. Still they run side by side. Coutinho manages to hold on. Legend trying to get the power down, can't quite find it there. Coutinho holds on to 4th place. Meanwhile then, at the very front of the field, Josh still leads the way. Legend looking for a move past Coutinho, but he parks the car on the left hand side. No way through for Legend there. Defends harsh, but it's fair defending from Coutinho, managing to hold on to 4th place there. Josh then, who came into the pits and rolled the dice from Neo in 4th place at one point. He had to pass him, but obviously that 5-second penalty cost him. Coutinho is around. Is he? No, that's a Renault in the wall. It's Venom who's crashed out of the race on the final lap. Will keep going. Josh comes through Ascari for the final time, and if you told me he had a chance of a race win here with 3 laps to go, I'd have called you mad. But it's exactly what's happened. Mercedes come to Monza and upset the Tifosi. It's going to be Josh who comes towards the final corner and towards the checkered flag. He wins it out on track. Josh wins the Italian Grand Prix, but it is Kasper on penalties who manages to grab that win at long last, and Ferrari come out on top in one of the most hectic final laps you will ever see here in Italy. But it is a Ferrari on the top step right in front of the Tifosi. Josh gets himself the driver of the day. Wow. Wow. I don't think you'll see a more hectic final 2 laps of this race. Take a selfie, why not? You've got the Tifosi as the perfect setting behind you. But it is Kasper who wins in the Ferrari, and what a vital and crucial win that was.
Fantastic win from Kasper. Just unfortunate for Josh, I think, from his perspective, picking up a 5-second time penalty. It must have been for speeding in the pit lane under the final pit stop, which it didn't come up on my screen, certainly. Legend as well, finishing in 3rd on penalties. I'm sure there's going to be a few question marks over the last 2 laps, though.
Well, in any case, here are your official, unofficial results of the Italian Grand Prix. It is Kasper who takes the win ahead of Josh on Ferrari's home ground. Legend finishing out the top 3. It's Navy 4th, Neo in 5th. At one point, he was on for the 2nd place, but it all went wrong in those final couple of laps. Coutinho in 6th place, and Venom, having crashed out of the race on the final lap, didn't see the checkered flag. He won't score any points whatsoever. Fastest lap of the race goes to Josh there in 2nd place. And I have to say, wow, Kasper picks up 30 points, and that's going to help him majorly in some sort of title fight. In fact, that is his first race win of the season. A perfect setting for your first race win in a Ferrari in front of the Tifosi. I think Kasper's earned this well and truly.
Fantastic result for Kasper. Fantastic result as well for the Tifosi out on track. And it's been a fantastic race as well. I did warn everyone that it will be quite hectic within the final 2 laps, and look what happened. It was quite hectic. So another James Head prediction has gone right tonight.
Well, it's not often that happens.
Not so much for the result.
I don't think anybody could have predicted that result, James. But wow. If you want to see more Italian Grand Prix action, don't forget we have Divisions 2 and 3 on Thursday night. And of course, we have Division 4 and 5 on Friday night. As well as that, we do have Formula 2 tomorrow night with Aidan Carter and Luke Etheridge. You can join them for that one. Not to be confused with Division 2. These will be in the F2 cars. And of course, if you fancy commentating over races like that, like myself and James, head on over to Competitive Racing Club, because they are looking for commentators on Saturday and Sunday nights. Make sure you send them a DM to show them you're interested in taking a spot in the commentary box. You'll be commentating in very good hands, LMP3 I believe, and also IndyCar. So if that sounds up your street...
No.
Oh no, it's not. All right, James is going to correct me.
It is touring cars, radicals, and IndyCar.
Ah, there we go. I got one of them right. I got the IndyCar part. I deserve half a point. But yes, if that sounds like up your street, what James said, then head over to Competitive Racing Club and put your application in to become a commentator. You could be commentating over a hectic couple of final laps like that one. But what an important and crucial 30 points that will be for Kalsper. Just taking a look at the standings then, that's going to put him on 148. Same amount of points as Medium Pilot, although Medium Pilot will still be in the lead of this championship on countback. So that win then gets Kalsper from third place, seemingly quite a way behind, to right back in this championship hunt. You do not want to miss the next race.
You do not want to miss the next race, and if it's anything like that, we're going to be in for an absolute treat.
We are indeed. Next race will, of course, be the Russian Grand Prix, which you can catch next week. And I hope you will join us for that one. And it should be a great, great spectacle to watch along. In any case, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel down below. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another race. The only day this league has off is Mondays. That's the only time we don't show any racing. So there's plenty of action every night starting at 8 PM British summer time. So don't miss out. And of course, if you want to follow myself and James on Twitter, I would say our links are in the description box below, but of course there's no Tom, so oh, they are. Oh, go ahead, go down. That's where all of us are. Myself and James will be loving to have you on our Twitter pages. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us for what has been a hectic Italian Grand Prix, and we hope to see you again soon. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and we'll see you again next time.